This is a glorious day. A day of judgment. Yeah, my children! Yeah!
There's no discharge in the war.
Hello, my pretties, and thank you for joining us on another Critics Collective. Today, this is going to be a spoiler chat that we're going to be, discussing. But of course, before we dive into it, please like and subscribe and comment down below whether you agree with us or whether you think we're just talking bullshit. We love to hear it all. So let's just dive right into this one. Where do you guys want to start with this? I mean, we could start at Baby Lit.
We could kick it
We
off
could start.
there. Start
We
off
could kick it off
strong.
there.
Strong.
Start off strong like the opposite. You know.
So you know it was fake.
Yes,
At least
yes,
Fake.
Fake.
They didn't have to put the children through that.
Yeah.
yes. I did read up according to child labor laws, of course. Genitalia cannot be real and visible when there are children present on set. So we did learn here that all of the genitalia that was just flapping around in the air were all prosthetics. Now, in my opinion, that it makes no sense to me, because if children are not supposed to see genitalia, especially male genitalia of any kind, why do prosthetics and then they look massively, and I mean massively, realistic? Like, you might as well just be walking around with your shit out. Like the fudge.
I mean, they didn't have clothes, I get that, but it wasn't necessary to have it shown so much. Like, I feel like one glimpse would have been enough. But we had a whole show.
this was me.
Sure
Like,
did.
I was like, and then it's like, the alpha was so big that I felt bad for the child, because it's like the prosthetic is like eye level. I'm like, this poor child gotta stand next to this man, and it's like,
I didn't realize that whole time that scene is with the whole child. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, not even like that was really not necessary.
yeah.
I feel like it took away. Like, we could have had that was like a good 2-3 minutes too. Like, I feel like just him chasing, knowing that he came down and was running towards them. I feel like that would have been enough, versus like a scene that, like, we could have seen him like at a different angle, like check on the pregnant zombie and then just run, and we could have got a back view. We didn't have to see all that. It was not necessary. But
I would say so. I think it just being implied would have been enough, but actual, like, full-fledged, just in your face footage, it's like, we all know what a penis looks like. We don't need to see one this massive on TV.
yeah.
Unless that's what you're into. Then, fine and dandy. Manny, thoughts? Thoughts on the penis?
No, I have no thoughts on the penis.
Yeah, no thoughts on the penis.
But the actor, huh?
No, I was gonna say the beginning, but the actor.
Yeah, what's his name? Lewis Perry. He was in Gladiator 2 and Craven the Hunter also.
Okay.
By his build, I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a big built guy. Like, not that. Just like, he's really tall, and like,
yeah,
I would
like,
expect him
huge.
to see in Gladiator.
Yeah, I didn't even know. To be honest with you, this was my first time really noticing this actor at all.
Pretty sure.
So I was like, I don't even know who this person is. I didn't know that, he had other movies under his belt. But yeah, good to know. I'll watch Gladiator again and see if I can find him out.
Pretty sure you will, Ice. Pretty sure you will. Pretty sure you will. But let's talk about the movie though.
Yes, yes. Let's talk about the movie. So, if you guys don't mind, I feel that a lot of people complains about the storyline and how it kind of took away of what whole 28 days, 28 weeks was supposed to be about. A lot of people complained there wasn't enough gore and stuff like that. I liked the story, of course, up to the point of just the end. That fucked it up for me, but we'll get into that later. Because I felt like it gave perspective in the fact that even though the virus is still running rampant, there are still other things in day-to-day life that you had to worry about. Like, yes, the rage virus is still, running around. There's evolution in these rage monster zombie things that we're running away from, but life still in a way goes on. You can still get sick from other things. And spoiler alert, with the mom having cancer, you know, I- it was very predictable in my opinion. As soon as I saw that she was suffering from pain, in her brain, I was like, "Ah, his mom has cancer. That's probably what it is. That's why she's getting all delusional, having nosebleeds. All the signs were there." Um, but it just gave you a glimpse in the fact, like, hey, like there are still other real problems to deal with, even though this virus has completely destroyed, what is it? It was just the UK and Scotland, you know. Um, and I also thought it was very interesting how they said it was just contained to those two countries. Because I could have sworn, and correct me if I'm wrong, that at the end of 28 weeks later, I thought they had. Remember when the kid who was asymptomatic, like his mother, and they got picked up by rescue? I could have sworn it spread to wherever they took that child to.
I
I
think they in a way retconned that film because the director was not involved with it, from my understanding. Danny Boyle.
mhm,
He only directed 28 days later, and 28 weeks. I believe was directed by what's his name? Some guy named Juan Carlos Festanilo. He directed a couple of recent film that you might have seen, Damsel on Netflix,
okay.
which I didn't like. So a
Mm,
couple of
I
failed
didn't think it was that
projects.
bad.
Eh.
Failed project. He did a couple of things you might know. They all
Yeah,
failed. They were all garbage, but you
yeah,
probably know what they are.
yeah. But I think he pretty much retconned that film. He wasn't involved at all with 28 weeks later. I don't even think they didn't even reference what happened as far as that film goes in that film. Um, and
Yeah.
I believe like it's part of Europe too. Also, like you said, that was quarantine because you could see in the film like when that soldier shows up, like those people are still stuck in 2002.
Yeah, while the rest of the world was still progressing.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I mean, maybe I did miss something at the end. Maybe they just had it that wherever
maybe
they didn't make it to mainland, they were just either like on a ship or just on the plane or whatever. I mean, I haven't seen that one in a while, but um
you sure you weren't distracted by the alpha?
that's probably what it was.
Huh?
That's probably what it was. I was like, damn, okay.
Um,
Um, get
so the to reference back to 28, the 2002 version,
hmm
um, from I don't know, from what the director, like the original film, like when he made it, he does like a lot of most of his film. Danny Boyle is like reference to something, like the first one I talked about in the last review, like he referenced me, toxic masculinity.
hmm
So I didn't really get the reference for this one as far as that goes. but they didn't really focus much as far as like what's going on with the race virus. I get this was mostly you saw in the beginning. It was like a coming of age type of story. Then later on is like his journey at, I guess, trying to save his mom. But from my understanding, like he was basically he was trying to save his mom, but it was basically a story of him trying to come out of his shell, something like that. I guess that's what he was trying to reference,
I
and and
guess
basically
so.
letting go. I guess that was the reference, letting go, because you can see in the beginning, like he has a little Power Ranger toy that he put down, letting go of like how he felt about his dad, because his dad was like cheating and stuff, eating out in public.
Yeah. Adulterer,
Yeah,
son of a bitch. Aaron Tyler?
which we didn't get much of in the film.
Yeah.
That was stupid. Like they showed him a lot in the trailer, but we didn't get really much of them.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was barely in there, like just like the first quarter of the film, and then his character was so bad. Not so bad that he did a bad job. He did a good job, but he did a good job at being a bad character that we didn't like in the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess
I'm
with the
mad he
whole
didn't go
yeah,
save his son. He didn't even try to go after them.
But remember the rules. If
yeah.
somebody leaves, you don't go after them. You don't go
Yeah,
save
there is
them.
no rescue
True,
team, no
but
nothing,
still, he didn't even
you know?
try.
And honestly, from the previews, I feel like it kind of tricked you a little bit because based off the previews and how the movie, I wouldn't say started, but once you get to the island and you know the father and the son are gonna go out, I honestly thought it was gonna be just them out on the mainland for most of the movie,
Same
trying
here.
to get back to their home, and then maybe at the end it implying that the alpha learns how they get home, and then we take it from there for part 4. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, how that whole island would be overthrown. So like the main focus would be just the son and the father, and then how in the end they kind of fuck up and teach this alpha how to get to their home. And
So
Alpha's like, "Hey, comida, I got this." Like,
I see you said part 4 because I just realized, and towards the end, right,
mhm,
when the kid decides to go, like after everything happens, you see it say 28 weeks later. Like I said, I think they retcon the last 28 weeks later, and they're probably gonna
mhm.
start over like 20. I don't know.
Maybe he may disregard it. I mean,
But I don't think he's gonna be involved in that. And hopefully not. I don't know,
I
because
don't
him
know.
and what's his name, Alex Garland. This like I told Monte in the last review that this is the last film they directed was like in 2007, I believe, was Sunshine, and that film was so indecisive that they didn't work together since this one.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I haven't seen that one, so I'm glad I haven't.
Sunshine. It's about the sun burning out, and people got to go flying there and start it up with like nuclear warheads and stuff.
Oh, there's like a lot of movies made with that type of plot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I haven't seen it then. Um, so what do you guys think about the baby though? Like that whole situation with the rage female who was pregnant giving birth.
So my thing is how, because all right. So the thing is, the island, they're isolated, right?
Mhm.
We don't know if there's any other town. Well, that did kind of reference there's other people in a
Mhm.
way, but she was like, I think she was like wearing a hospital garment from, I don't know. Oh, she was just all naked. I forgot.
No, it looked like
And
she
I
was
think she
wearing a
was,
dress, like a
Yeah.
regular dress that was just
yeah,
ripped.
it was like all
So
dirty and stuff.
so my thing is, did she get pregnant? Because remember, they're not zombies. so they're not dead.
But I thought once you get bitten,
No,
yes, it takes control, but eventually your body dies.
no,
Like the slow ones that were all decayed and nasty.
it's kind of like a rabies on steroids.
Okay.
So they're not
So
dead. It's just like makes you real angry and
vicious.
vicious and mutates your body in a way. Um,
Hmm.
but like if you the what was the in the original one you see, and they're like doing experiments on monkeys in a lab that bite somebody, and that's how it starts. And I forgot it bite somebody or blood, something like that. But my thing is, was she pregnant when she got bit, or did she get bit and Alpha decided to go to Pound Town and got her pregnant?
Yeah, the thing is, okay, so that's what I kind of thought because when he rushes into the train and kind of just stops and picks her up, it's like he seems pissed. Like, this was my
Yeah.
woman and now she's dead. And then he drops the body. And I feel like, yeah, he's chasing them because, of course, he's the alpha. Yeah, they're food for him. But at the same time, is it because he also wanted his baby?
No, he wanted the baby for sure. He wanted the baby because he kept going after the baby.
Yeah, that's why. And then
He
the
kept
thing
looking
is,
at. He looked at the mom with the baby. Because he looked at them. Well, he looked at the. He checked on the dead zombie mom, and then he looked at her, and it was like he looked. He kind of inspected her, saw that there's no baby, saw the baby in their hand. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get mine.
yeah.
That was definitely his.
And like,
How it
is
came to
this,
be.
and it's like, now, is this baby a new hybrid? Like, is it not infected, but infected, or is it not infected, can't spread it, and whatever the mutated virus is, it's just part of its DNA?
They could make it where the baby's blood could have cured itself from the virus, and maybe they need the baby's blood, kind of like like in The
Like stem
Last of Us.
cells?
Yeah,
Yeah, I got
somehow
you. I
could
mean,
be
because
that.
that's
Because
true.
even the doctor was like, the placenta is a beautiful thing, like kind of saying like that baby was still preserved. No matter how it was conceived, it was still preserved in that zombie, and the baby did not become infected itself, no matter
But
how it came to
we don't
be.
know that. It could be asymptomatic.
But
Like,
that was a full grown baby. That wasn't a preemie. That was a
yeah,
full term baby.
yeah.
That
You
was
saw her belly, right? It was fucking.
that
Yeah,
It
was
was
big.
huge.
So
yeah.
no matter how long the time was, whether she was already bit or not, the baby was still preserved, like still
So
okay.
my thing is, like, what was the whole purpose of that film? I mean, that scene with the baby. I was pissed off that they even went in there to basically help a zombie have a baby, the mom and all. Even though she had the whole brain cancer. I probably was the brain cancer making her do that. But if like they brought those soldiers in the story, which they had no purpose at all. That's one thing.
Yeah.
You know, even though I like that character, he was kind of again interesting, but they had no purpose. I know he said the ship crashed, that's how they ended up here, but there was no purpose as far as having soldiers. It just basically explained that this town is stuck in 2002, and the outside world is still moving on.
Yeah.
And the only reason the soldiers are around is quarantine them. But I would have preferred like the soldiers came in just to, hey, we know there might be a pregnant rage virus subject in there. We're trying to get the baby, get a sample, and something like that. Or now they're trying to protect this baby. That made a would have made a more different story. But again,
Yeah, I could see that. Like if they were using drones to like
watch them and
visually watch and then they see this pregnant one and they're like, yo, what the F? And then they like send a group like, yo, we need a sample of that. We need her, blah, blah, blah. Like I could see that if they would have ran with that. Like, see, we could have rewritten this shit in many different ways and it would have been way better than what the fuck they gave us. Like, like
again,
no lie.
this guy's film tends to be indecisive, even though they get like grave reviews. But some people like them, some people don't like them. most of the time because
Surprisingly, online, I've been seeing it's been like kind of 50-50. People, some people don't like it at all. Some people loved it. Like, it's really,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I
I
mean,
I
I see it, but
I don't
do I
know. I
agree?
think what really, like, because it was just giving us a different perspective of, life while the rage virus is going on around them. I think what really killed it most for me, of course, was the end.
all the Power Rangers.
Yeah, like, as soon as I saw them, I was in the theater with my man, and I was like, "Parkour, parkour, parkour!" Like,
Office.
yeah, because I was like, "What the hell is this shit?" And of course, here in America, we don't know nothing about that Jimmy
Oh,
Sylv
Jimmy.
whatever the
Yes,
hell,
Seville.
Seville. Yeah, that,
I didn't
famous
know.
British
So
DJ,
yeah, so
like.
basically Jimmy Savile, famous British guy who
Mhm.
really famous over there in Britain, and he was discovered to be a pedophile around the time, 2002. So technically, and 28 days later, when the virus happened, they nobody ever found out that he was a pedophile.
Mm,
I don't know if these guys are like a, a fan of him
and they
or
don't know?
yeah, or because another thing I thought maybe that kid Jimmy who they showed at the end, Ramick from uh
Sinners.
Sinners, uh it's because remember in the beginning him and all his what 8 sisters were watching the Teletubbies. Maybe their
Mm,
colors or represent the Teletubbies or something. I don't even know. But
that's
from
a good connection there.
but
I didn't think of that.
the director, I was watching a video of him recently. He said that it is a reference to Jimmy Savile, but he said some dumb shit like this is probably a better. I don't know if you guys ever watch a movie called Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it was better written than Clockwork Orange. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? So I was like, oh, he's off the wall with that.
Yeah.
So he
Nah.
said that ending scene is better written than Clockwork. Is so I was like, whoa, this guy's off his rails right there.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's a classic movie, and that movie had a message. Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
talking out his ass with that one. Like,
So, and I didn't
sit
really
down,
get
bruh.
what his message was. As what again, I know it's still referenced that they're still stuck in 2002, but what's the purpose of using this idol as the reference, this pedophile as a reference? Maybe in the
Yeah.
second movie, like these guys, I don't know.
I mean, they could have done with everything else besides the Jimmy Seville thing, right? That still could
Yeah,
have
Yeah.
worked. So then I
Ex
don't. Then I don't know. I don't
you know,
like it.
I wouldn't have mind them, our character, the little boy meeting Jimmy, who was the little boy in the beginning of the movie. But I don't know, the way they have their characters meet, it's like, what was the purpose of introducing us to him when he's young? Then he's not there throughout the whole movie. Then he pops up at the end, and then it's a weird ending.
well, they did
Like,
kind of hint that there was somebody around. Like you saw that one sign
yeah,
with Jimmy. Plus
yeah,
that one zombie they kind of hung upside down. Well, I don't know if it was a zombie. I think it was a person they
mhm,
hung upside down, made him turn.
yeah,
So, which is what I believe is like because you see his cross is upside down in his
yeah.
chest. So it's probably like a cult or something that's against like religion, and they believe these zombies are. Uh,
I don't know. It was garbage. That ending. It was straight garbage. The movie was okay, but then the freaking ending made it worse. I was just
it
like,
Okay.
really?
they
Waited so
they
long
they
for
had a good concept, with the different type of like rage virus infectee, like those fat ones just crawling around and they make noise,
Yeah.
and with the alpha who controls all.
Oh, the
So
screamers.
yeah, so
Yeah, that was interesting. I like how he made them evolve though. that it just wasn't the same old like from the beginning. Um, so that just shows us, hey, the virus itself is mutating in a different way. Um, and I don't know, they gave me more of like kind of like a caveman type vibe,
Like
you
okay,
know?
like Neanderthal.
So
Oh yeah,
exactly.
like the
Like
typical caveman.
yeah, and you're
Yeah.
reverting back. And anyone who's not like me is food, you know? So I don't know. And I mean, just to go back to the pregnant woman, if that was his mate and they did make a child while they already had the virus, like then that's, that itself is an interesting would be an interesting topic to, for them to do something with. Um just to show how not just evolution with them, like with alphas, whoever the betas are, omegas, whatever, in their little wolf pack. It's basically what it is, like a little wolf pack, but how it changes every generation. Because the looks completely normal, perfectly fine.
Yeah, for
So,
now.
yeah, for now, who knows what they're gonna do? Like, oh, when she turns 18, she fucking goes nuts, or when she hits puberty, that's when shit takes over.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Like, no, she got her period. We're all gonna die. you know?
Or she could infect people and not and be like,
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
just like what's that show? The Last of Us. Even though she's immune, but she could still infect people. So
yeah. Just freaking sneeze, and all of a sudden you get spit in somebody's eye, and then they
yeah.
fucking change and shit because some of her bodily fluid got in somebody's eye. I don't know. But we can all agree upon that the movie was kind of shitty though, right?
It started off okay, like it was going somewhere, and even if they
Yeah,
made the little
it
changes,
was.
like the mom, like I get the mom was his coming of age, the letting go of the fear and whatever, and becoming a man. I really don't know, but it was sad to lose the mom, but
Yeah,
also like I liked how they honored her in the end. He put her at the top. The
yeah,
skull memorial was crazy. There was so many. That just goes to show how many people, he found so far on that island. So there are other people. We just
yeah,
don't know if they're alive, they're zombies, what they were, because they're all skulls.
yeah,
Um, the way the Alpha just kind of destroyed people with the ripping and the spine, and that was
yeah.
crazy. That
That
is
was
that was crazy.
that was a little off the chain. I was like, damn, why you
And then
gotta
he
be
just
like
whacking
that?
people with it.
With what, the head with the spine or his baby leg?
But I feel like it definitely, like I also agree that it showed their evolution, because with the rage virus, I feel like they still had some sense of what was going on.
Mhm.
Even the female zombie, when she was giving birth, like that connection until at the end she tried to lunge at them. But I feel like it is showing there's some type of evolution to the virus. So maybe we'll see where it'll go. Hopefully.
Yeah, that little connection was weird to me, to be honest with you.
It was, yeah.
Cause I'm like, all of a sudden, oh, it's okay for me to help you through birth, but after you give birth, then you gotta fucking try to kill me? Like, come on.
Yeah.
You got sense for that, but you ain't got sense to not kill me? Like, come on. I don't know, the whole baby thing, I guess it's a good topic, like a good plot that they kind of threw in there, but then at the same time, it's like, okay, where are you going with it? Does it really make sense? I mean, even though I know that our placentas are magical that we create in our bodies, But I don't know.
It just didn't lead to. Well, I guess we gotta wait for another film basically to find out what happened. But as far as this story goes, it didn't really lead to anything except for,
No.
I guess, the kid's journey in becoming somebody, or
Mm. I don't
But
know. It was like a soprano ending.
yeah,
Just
basically,
ended. And it's like, what
It
the fuck was that?
it literally gave that they wanted us to like go through his journey just for him to meet Jimmy. Like, because at the end of the day, he still met up with Jimmy. It started with Jimmy, ended with Jimmy. So now, and then the whole
Yeah.
purpose was his little journey of getting there. So hopefully we'll get some answers
Yeah, and
next
I just
one.
hope Jimmy isn't a pedo. At least not
well,
like the one in real life.
I hope not.
that
I'm
too.
like, someone save the boy. Save the boy. He already seen enough dick. He don't need to see no more. Had to throw that in there real quick. Had to throw that in there real quick. So do you guys have anything more to share on 28 years later before we
I don't think so.
No, I don't got nothing. The movie pretty much pissed me off, and because I'm really, even though the director, again, himself, he doesn't consider it a zombie film. He said it himself, but I mean, I'm into those type of any zombie film, but it was disappointing because
it was.
maybe I went there expecting something and I got something. With zombie film, I don't expect a whole. Yes, you could do a good story, but don't try to do like a whole message type of, make it indecisive and just ruin the whole plot of the story when you built a whole universe just to, oh yeah, this is a journey for this kid, and we have a baby over there, then we have a fucking Mandingo running around. So it's like
Okay. Yeah. I would
so
have to agree with you, Annie. I'd have to agree with you.
it was no purpose. Huh? Their clothes just automatically melted off, and or they just decided to go real feral and just, hey, we don't need clothes anymore. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're going to come to a close. Thank you guys so much for joining us to discuss the 28 years later spoiler talk here with the Critics Collective group. Once again, please like, subscribe, and comment down below what parts of the movie pissed you off, or what parts did you like? Was your favorite part Mr. Mandingo? Let us know down below. Thank you so much, and good night.